I think that doping and cheating in general, unsportsmanlike conduct from athletes, trainers, coaches, and or administrators is the most devastating thing that's been happening in sports in the last 5 years for sure, and going back further. So my personal belief is that we've had enough, and the fans, I think, have dealt with enough. And I think it's time for the sporting bodies and organizations to really take a very hard stand. Well, I do agree that they're beginning to sort it out. And at the same time, you have to give credit to the Olympic sports because the doping control programs are in place. They're harsh, they're stringent. We're not dealing with players' unions or professional teams diverting the issue and keeping players from being tested. It is what it is, and it's very, very effective. And sometimes I think amateur sports does not get the credit for having the toughest drug programs in the world, especially when you compare them to some of the more professional sports where you don't visibly, you don't read these stories in the paper. So in balance, we do a good job, but I think a better job can be done. An analogy would be that I think the tide has stopped rising for the time being. I'm not of the opinion that the war is being won on doping, because there's still substances out there that are being created and used that there is no test for, which always has been the big problem in sports. I think it's a good move. I think it's a very strong disincentive for an athlete to want to cheat. If you get caught and have up to a 2-year ban, then you miss an Olympic Games. I think that is a big penalty for an athlete to think that they will miss an Olympic Games automatically versus come back in 2 years. Well, I think 2 of them I'm seeing with the IOC going back to making the decision to ban an athlete that has a 2-year or more suspension to eliminate them from the next Olympic Games. I think that's a positive. I think it was a positive for the Track and Field International Athletics Federation to decide that they were going to deliver the gold medal to the British 4x400 team and forget about the 8-year statute of limitations, because I think the issue is so much more important with that. Those are 2 things. I think that in the future there has to be, and it's taken too long to find good solid tests for testosterone, growth hormone, this insulin growth factor, and there's possible new thyroid drugs coming out. And I think that they probably need to look more at short-acting stimulants. And this is coming from someone who's not intimately involved, but you know, I have ears on the ground from around the world that call me up and tell me that these things are out there. No, when I was training, most of the guys train naturally, especially in the sprints and hurdles. I think the problem is that now, instead of taking an athlete who's maybe just gotten out of college, who may need 2 years of experience and another year to get ready for the Olympics, instead of taking the 3 years and having someone in a natural program that may take that long, it's easier for the coaches. There's a financial incentive for coaches, for athletes, even for some of the sponsors and organizations to have that happen in a much shorter time frame. And when you induce anabolics and these other substances, you can start someone on a program in August, and in March or April the next year, you've done 3 years of work effectively, if you have a good coach and a good program. So it's shortened the time span of development, but it's also shortened the time span of careers. You don't see people staying around for the super long periods of time. And in many, many cases, you see people surge and then go away, and they surge again and go away. You don't see the type of consistency that I was able to exhibit, for example, by just being forced to run 2,000 miles a year and work out 4 6-hour days. Well, I don't want to speculate on that because, obviously there's that possibility. But I don't think I'm the person to say that no matter what, it's going to be attained at Olympics. I think that there may be some positive tests like there are at every Olympics, and that's just the way it probably will always be. There's definitely hope in the future. I think there's been a lot more research done, and there are a few groups around the world who are developing these tests, who are really fighting for their tests to be the test that's used based on the length of time that they can discover positives. So there's always hope. There's always hope. I think the main thing is to have an atmosphere at which these trainers and coaches and managers and athletes who would tend to go into the doping regimes don't feel comfortable. It's very important to have that, to not let there be a comfort zone to exist in because of the failure of strong, solid testing, or failure of procedures and collection, or just wanting to look the other way. Whatever the reason is, there has to be a strong push to not let there be a comfort level.